All right. If this were 2015, this would be the game of the year in the ACC. Oh, how times have changed. It's Florida State, it's Clemson, but this is always Florida State Seminoles live for an 80th time. Jason Parker, NBC6, Logan Robinson, Knoll, Game Day. I'm merely Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. Please lock it in. Before you do anything, before you enjoy yourself for the next hour and just bust a gut laughing, just having a great time with us, hit the like button, and then you get that out of the way, and then you just can kick back and enjoy the Florida State football talk. We got some Clemson. We've got the enemy coming in here in just about 15 minutes, so I will turn it over to these two, but remind everyone out there that this is sustainable if you get us a sponsor. So if you own a business or know somebody that owns a business that could benefit from sponsoring Florida State Seminoles Live, hit me up at MarkRogersTV at Gmail. Take it away, boys. You got a new quarterback in town, or at least a new quarterback candidate that's obviously on the sideline now.
Mark got all that sales stuff out of the way because we're trying to prolong before we actually talk about this football team. And Mark, I think I speak for Logan when I say we will pay you to talk about basketball at this rate.
Yeah, we're only, 9 days now getting close to basketball season. NBA draft is in less than 2 hours. We're ready to see two Knowles go in a matter of probably like 14 picks. So that's what we're looking forward to. But still, football is going to be played in Tallahassee. I am now decided to go. My dad offered the ticket. So I'm excited still to be inside the stadium. There's nothing better. It's looking like it's going to be a beautiful weekend, Jason. I'm not complaining.
Wait. Two things. Number one, knowing my luck, one of those Knowles is going to end up on the Heat, knowing my luck this season.
You wish.
No, God, no, I hate the Heat. You're actually going to go watch this massacre?
Yep, my dad offered me. It was I had no intentions whatsoever. I was just going to hang out here because I was going to rest before having a great time, I should say, in Jacksonville to see the Steelers play on Sunday. But my dad texted, 12 o'clock game, it won't be that bad. Get up early, go watch a game happen, and then maybe hang outside and hang with the family afterwards somewhere. But nothing. I can't. I will never shoot down. I can never say no to hanging out and watching some football. I'll do anything to be in a stadium.
You know what? You are right because the game starts at 12. The outcome will be decided by 12:30, 12:40, so we'll be good.
Yeah, by then I'll have ESPN, watch ESPN. I might bring a couple tablets maybe and put it up there.
Yeah. I feel like let's get this out there. Let's just put it out there. Let's put all our chips on the table.
I need to go up.
It's I'm trying to find the right word that doesn't involve a curse word that'll get Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football, in trouble. Embarrassing. It's embarrassing to watch what's going on with this team. It's embarrassing to see this team that 7 calendar years ago, was undefeated. At this point in the season, was a top 2 team setting their course for a national title, have their worst record since 1975. This is Florida State's worst start to a season in 45 calendar years. That's at a time when Florida State was a bad football team. That's at a time when Florida State in the early 70s sucked at football, mostly because they had a Parker affiliated with the program. But they ended up firing the coach and bringing in a guy named Bobby Bowden. Once again, for all the people out there who want to ridicule me and put stuff on my social media account, I'm not saying we need to fire Mike Norvell at this point. The arguments are becoming more and more compelling that the seat is getting hotter just 8 games in. I don't think that this team gets it. I think when you've got people sitting here wanting positive reinforcement about a great fourth quarter against NC State, when you're down 35-9, and you want credit for scoring 2 fourth quarter touchdowns when NC State put in their scrubs, I don't want no scrubs. Yeah, he got that. Logan got that reference. But we're sitting there, and you're hearing these post-game press conferences. You're hearing these comments. You're hearing them saying, oh, we're doing the right thing. We're doing the right thing. We're making all these things. We were down 35-9 to NC State. NC State's a good team. NC State, which was a 10-point favorite, they should have beat us. There is no reason we should be bragging any way, shape, or form about anything this season when we're down 35-9 to NC State. Embarrassing. That's the way to put it.
Yeah, no.
Hold on. Sorry. Let's give Ronan a shout out. He's giving us $10. Can't wait for Jason to tell me my team sucks. Your team sucks. I just figured I'd say that to you. Thank you for your donation.
Let me read the super chat here from Ronan. Support Mark Rogers on Florida State. Go Canes. I can't wait for Jason to tell me my team sucks. 5210. Ronan, a Miami fan, supporting our Florida State show.
Ronan.
Duly noted. Again, Ronan, thank you. Miami fans support the Florida State show.
Because they're stupid. They don't realize they have their own shows later, and they're coming here.
They support those too.
That's how dumb they are. So
they support them all.
You're stupid fans. Go ahead. Logan, what were your thoughts on? And we knew what was going to happen. We all predicted NC State was going to win, but what was going through your head watching the sensation that is Mike Norvell on the sideline Saturday in Raleigh?
The sensation's not in my body right now. It was fully torqued in my body when Florida State faced North Carolina. Jason, the torqueness has dropped dramatically.
You're not torquing anymore.
Torque, like I'm torqued. Never mind. I gotta stop. But no, I mean, it's sad. This is where it's at. It sucks that I think everybody. I mean, even on the Florida State beat or guys covering it, or like us on here analyzing this team all year and last year. I mean, it's sad that now we have to predict Florida State to lose these kind of games. You still go up to NC State, and those games always, even if Florida State's ranked top 5, is always a game that you always look out for. But this one, we kind of already knew it. We kind of already knew it was just not going to be a good one. I had a friend over watching the game with me, and whenever I saw Tate Rodemaker go in there, I mean, we just kind of just stared at each other and said, what's going on? And I've done that multiple times with my dad in the stands and Doak, just kind of watching the play in front of me happen and just be like, and after that, I end up telling him, hey, let's look into basketball season tickets. But, the games it's hard. Most of these games this year, I've remembered everything, but this NC State game, I don't really remember much. I mean, you just told me Brownlee had a crazy interception, but I forgot all about that. That's good that he was on Sports Center. But I mean, the situation is Florida State does not have a quarterback. Obviously, we'll talk about Trevor Purdy here in a minute, but Florida State just doesn't have a quarterback. Of course, he's a true freshman. There's no knock on him. There was definitely some promising signs from him. He's tough as nails. The guy has shown us that he's got some upside to him, and coming as a true freshman on the road like that, 7:30 at night. You got to look forward, hopefully, to the future and a full, healthy Trevor Purdy. But Florida State right now at this time has no quarterback. Jordan Travis is not fully healthy. He intends on probably being the starter on Saturday. You get Tate Rodemaker, who we've already seen enough from Tate Rodemaker. He's got a ways to go on his front. So right now, Florida State is in a tough situation offensively. You lose Tamarion Terry. He's gone from the program. He's selling his FSU gear, and you guys can go buy that wherever if you can go reach out to him. And then on defensively, I mean, there's no reason to even talk about the defense. I mean, we've already talked about it enough, but offensively was maybe your only hope of doing anything.
Wait, we have a defense?
They say that might be there. I don't know.
Because I know we don't have a defensive coordinator because Adam Fuller's a joke, but I didn't know we actually have players on defense. Got it. Now,
yeah.
You mentioned it in the segue, and Mark talked about it off the top. Florida State will be starting another different starting quarterback because Trevor Purdy, he threw 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. And, for what he did, he looked somewhat decent for the situation he was in. And, of course, in perfect Florida State fashion for 2020, he's gone for the rest of the season after having surgery to repair his already injured. So here's the question. Number 1, who will start this week in the game against Clemson? And that's number 1. Who will start? And number 2, who should start?
Both of them. This is going to be just unfair for both. I think Mike Norvell and Kenny Dillingham are going to have some different kind of packages. And when I say different kind of packages, we've heard some rumors that Travis J, he played quarterback. He did a lot of things at Madison County, got a ring on himself, state champion. Packages where you throw him back there at Wildcat. But the case is Tate Roadmaker has barely seen much time at all this season. Obviously, we saw him very early on in the season. We see him against NC State too. But against Clemson like this as a true freshman, I don't know about that. Then you look at Jordan Travis. What happened?
Logan, time out. Did you just even say for a second, I'm not doubting your sources because you've got great sources, Noel Game Day, a fine outlet for Florida State athletics. Did you just even insinuate for one moment that Travis J,
Not starting.
No, not starting. No. But Travis J, who's a defensive back and kick returner, could potentially take snaps at quarterback this week?
Yes.
All right, so let's get to predictions. I say Clemson 112-0. Go.
That has nothing to do with the Travis. Well, I guess Travis J is on defense too. But yeah, don't be shocked. Don't be shocked by it.
Oh.
I think they're gonna have to go through everything because Jordan Travis. I mean, you get maybe a good first quarter from Jordan Travis, and then the offense just stalls out for the next three. That's something that's been happening this whole season. You go to Tate Roadmaker. I mean, what are you going to work with there for a while? All you have right now is Ontario Wilson at wide receiver. That's all it was against NC State. Cameron McDonald has disappeared or something that the quarterbacks are not finding him or he's not open. I find it where the quarterbacks aren't finding him because I think Cameron McDonald has played very well this season. So I think there's going to be a mixtures. It's just going to be a wild time, whoever's taking the snaps. And I think there might not be one, two, there might be three guys back there. I think you'll see a lot of Corbin too, taking Wildcat because we saw that on Saturday night. So it's just going to be there could be four people taking snaps on Saturday inside Doak Campbell Stadium, and I'm all there for it. I am there for a rowdy time at Doak Campbell Stadium.
Okay.
Sign me up.
And we're still going to lose by 60, so it's fine.
This will be fun to watch.
It will be. First of all, shout out to Terry. Thank you, $10. Good evening, guys. We do appreciate that. So you think Jordan Travis should start the game, correct?
Yes.
Okay. I think it should be Tate Roadmaker. I don't think Tate Roadmaker is the better quarterback out of the two. I think the only way you have any remote, minute, minuscule chance of even showing up against Clemson is Jordan Travis starting. He's also injured. He missed last week against NC State. He's also your best chance to be a starting quarterback next season. You risk Clemson's going to murder. It's going to be like the scene out of Boys in the Hood when they say, y'all want to see a dead body? That's what's going to happen on Saturday.
Yep.
They're going to kill whoever's our starting quarterback.
That's why I'm saying it's a shuffle system.
Sacrifice Tate Rodemaker, sacrifice him, get the priest in to give last rites, get the rabbi in there to give the Morris Kaddish, and we're good to go. Now, by the way, when the Clemson guys come in and talk, let's not talk down about our Knowles. Let's just talk bad about them. Okay, got it. Hey, how's it going there?
Yeah.
So this is our Florida State Seminoles show that we deliver each and every Wednesday night with these two. Jason Parker from NBC6, and of course, Logan Robinson from Noel Game Day. You got to check him out there. And when we've got a big game, we've got a bit of a tradition where we bring in the opposition. So big game, yes, circa 2015. So we're kind of pretending that this is a big game because, hey, if somebody's been asleep for 5 years, they wake up and they want to watch college football and they see Clemson, Florida State, noon. Okay, I'll check that one out. Jason, welcome to the show. We got Jason Priester here from SI's allclemson.com. Jason, how you doing tonight?
I'm all right. Appreciate y'all having me on. How y'all doing?
Wait, we got two JPs on here now? Wait, hold on.
Yeah,
Jason.
it's going to be difficult.
Uh-oh.
Oh, good God. Well, first of all, Jason, thank you for joining us here. We do appreciate you taking a moment to talk about the massacre that your team's going to bring to us in Tallahassee this week. And we have another Clemson. We got two now.
This would be Brian Knight, a.k.a. Bobby Durkins, here on YouTube.
Hey, Bobby Durkins, how you doing?
Man, how you doing? How y'all doing?
Jason Parker, you're in for a treat.
Oh, boy. I'm out of this.
You just came in for a
Hey
full
there, Bobby.
Jason, you might want to get back to drinking again.
This is a professional show, Bobby. This is a professional show you crashed here, Bobby. What is this slopping on your face and stuff in your face full of food?
He's happy. Look at him. He's got his flag
I'm
back.
hanging out.
He's ready.
I'm hanging out. I mean, I put pants on this time just in case my computer should lean down.
Okay.
I wouldn't want to show you my prize and stuff.
Appreciate that.
All right, thank you.
Oh my!
Thank you. So I guess the first question we have from our aspect is Trevor Lawrence. Obviously, he's missed the last 2 games dealing with this COVID stuff. I guess number one, how has he been getting back into practice this week? Number one, and number two, is there any way he could possibly still have lingering stuff and not make the trip to Tallahassee? Because that would be super. If he and Travis Etienne, your entire defense, if they could not make the trip, that'd be great, guys. If you could help us out there.
Yeah, I think Lawrence is 100% full go, man. Listening to him yesterday, he's itching to get back out there. That's probably not a good sign for Florida State this weekend, considering all the losses. And it's hard to believe all the stuff Florida State's been through this year, man. It's been one loss after another, and this week's kind of been the tip of the iceberg, it would seem. But yeah, I expect to see Lawrence come out with a purpose. He seems like a man on a mission this week talking to the media.
Bobby, what is Clemson's mindset coming in? Obviously, we saw it was the double overtime loss to Notre Dame. Then you have the bye week. What is Clemson's mindset coming into this game at this point? Are they going to look past and look at a Florida State team that, we call them pathetic on our show at this point? But how is Clemson looking at this game? Is it just another game in the road, or are they seriously thinking, hey, this is a Florida State team we really need to watch out for?
I'll tell you how they are in their 6th game. For the love of God, don't lose.
Okay.
No. I mean, let's be honest with ourselves. If I was y'all, I'm going to tell you exactly what I'd do.
Okay.
First of all, you know you're going to lose. Mm-hmm. Mark, he's just being nice, but he knows you're going to lose. Mm-hmm. At Young and Up Top with Natural Light, you're good people. I like that. My wife, she drinks Natural Light. Reminds me of our honey. Reminds me of our honeymoon.
Okay.
I don't drink the light. I drink the ice.
You drink the ice. I like that.
That's the upgrade.
He's an elitist. He drinks the ice.
We amp it up a little bit more here in Tallahassee.
I like that. Well, what I was saying was, if I was Florida State, I'd say, look, everybody believes we're going to lose. Mm-hmm. Even God believes we're going to lose. So let's just go out here, throw the ball downfield, and see if we get lucky because we get picked off. Is anybody really surprised? No. So what I would do if I was Florida State is I would just play lights out for this game. To answer your question about Clemson, I really think that as long as, first of all, there's no fall off of quarterback. So if Trevor didn't play this week, I mean, DJ threw for 426 yards against Notre Dame. That's the most that Notre Dame's ever had passed against them in history. So imagine every great quarterback ever played against Notre Dame never did what DJ did in only his 2nd start. But I believe Trevor's going to be fired up. I think our team is fired up. The big thing is we have to get our defense to play in well. I still believe we win this ball game by 2 to 3 touchdowns. Only way that it would be less than 2 to 3 touchdowns is we just come in there and we're like, well, it's just another game. And I've been preaching this, and then I'll shut up after this. Not really, but I will. And a lot of Clemson fans get pissed at me about this one. And that is, I've been saying all season leading up to that Miami game, leading up to Notre Dame game, when you're playing lesser teams, this is where you fix your problems with your safeties. This is where you fix your problems with your O-line. And everybody said, well, they're not going to show their playbook. They're not going to do this. And they're not going to do it. Guess what? Guess what happened to us? I know injuries. Guess what happened to us? Clemson needs to take this time to fix their problems against y'all and need to focus on the game and forget about everything. Just focus on Florida State. Yes, you know you can beat them, and you should. Focus, fix things. If not, we can kiss our national championship hopes goodbye. Not with a loss this week, but just not preparing for the rest of the season.
Did I hear 3 touchdowns?
Mm-hmm. They're a 34-point favorite.
I've got some money available. I can certainly
put down a little bit of money.
Yeah, I could put a few down. I'll give you 14 or even 21.
Let's be honest, guys. If you expected a war of words, we know you're going to kill us. We've established that since July. We know what's going to happen. Logan's stupid enough to go to the game. I'm down here in South Florida. I'm not going to be up there. I'm not going up for this crap.
I'll never turn down being inside of a stadium with pads in it. That will never happen. It's still a beautiful time to be alive inside that stadium. There's nothing wrong. And it's gonna, like we said, it's going to be a cluster F. And you know what? It will be what it is. I'll have Watch ESPN on my phone over there with whatever game is going on at noon. But I won't turn it down. I have a beer in my hand. I'll be watching football right in front of me. I could possibly see 4 quarterbacks. I could see 4 guys take snaps behind Florida State's wonderful offensive line against Clemson's D-line on Saturday. I will never turn that down.
Excuse my friend Logan. He's had a few beers already. So he's got the liquid courage to talk about. But we know the big names on Clemson's roster. We know the Trevor Lawrences, the Travis Etiennes, these guys. From both of you guys, who are the kind of guys kind of flying a little bit under the radar on either side of the ball, offense or defense, that you think could have a big game for Clemson on Saturday? I'll start with you, Jason, and then we'll go to Bob.
I'll give you one on each side of the ball. On offense, I would say look out for wide receiver Joseph Ngata. He's been banged up all year. He's been battling abdominal muscle strain or something. Every time they think he's close to being ready, he re-aggravates it, re-injures it. He hurt it in the opener. They're hoping he is full go this week. And his absence has really hurt the downfield passing game. Him and Frank Ladson both being hurt most of the season. They missed a chunk of camp, and then both been banged up all season long. Those are your 2 boundary guys, and it's affected the downfield passing game. If he's 100% and they can start working him back in, that's a guy to keep an eye on the offensive side of the ball. I'm not saying he's going to have 10 catches, 100 yards, something like that, but he's a guy to look out for to make a few plays. On defense, a guy that doesn't get talked about a lot is Mike Jones Jr. He plays in the same spot Isaiah Simmons did last year. Doesn't get a lot of publicity. He's played that position well. He's had big shoes to fill, and obviously he's not Isaiah Simmons. He's not lining up all over the field, but he's done everything the coaches has asked him to do. When he's in there, the Tigers' defense hasn't been getting killed by tight ends like we've seen in the past. He's good against the run. He's been very solid at that Sam linebacker spot this year for Clemson.
I'll start with the defense. First of all, I'm just going to copy you because I agree with you 100%. Mike Jones Jr. told a bunch of people pre-season, I said, listen, you don't replace a player like Isaiah Simmons. You don't. Don't even think about it. And first one of you who tries to say that he's going to replace him, I punch you in the face. But he's come out. He's played great. He looks the part. Met him, nice guy. On the offensive side of the ball, now I know some people would say, well, he had the great game against Notre Dame. But up until that Notre Dame game, unless you were a true blue Clemson fan or true orange, you wouldn't really know about Cornell Powell. Cornell Powell came out and had a lights-out game. If for everybody who doesn't know Clemson football, you've heard the Ngata, you've heard the Ladson, you've heard, obviously, the big names in the past, Justin Ross, T. Higgins, Amari Rogers. Cornell Powell is one of those guys who normally would transfer out because he is that good. He's stuck around. He's been in the system. He knows how everything goes. I mean, Lord, he knows where Dabo Swinney keeps the mop and everything. You know what I'm saying? He has stuck around that long. He came out, had a great game against Notre Dame. We wasn't shocked as Clemson fans. We knew he had the ability, and I really look for him to have a big game in this one because I think he really showed everybody he's ready for the big stage, past just having, years of being at Clemson under his belt. So Cornell Powell, definitely.
Is there any concern, and I'll turn things over to Logan real quick, is there any concern the last 2 games, the offense coming – the defense has given up a decent amount of points. They gave 28, or excuse me, it was a 28 or 32 to Boston College.
28.
28 to Boston College, and then 47 to Notre Dame. That's different from what we've seen in the past couple of years from Clemson. Is there any concern about that defense at this point, or is it just, hey, that's just been those 2 games, these last 2 games? Or is there any concern on that defensive side?
I don't think there's a lot of concern about the defense when it's healthy. When it's not healthy, and we've seen the last 2 weeks what can happen. They've just had a lot of bodies missing on that side of the ball. And really for Clemson on defense, it all starts and stops with Tyler Davis, especially against the run. He's the guy that plugs the middle, draws those double teams, lets those linebackers and those ends fill the gaps and stop the run. And when he's not in there, those other guys aren't drawing the same kind of double teams that he does, and teams are able to run the ball a little bit better. We saw that with Notre Dame. We saw it with Boston College, and he's only played like 60-something snaps all year, I want to say, Tyler Davis. But if they can get him back and healthy, I think this defense improves a ton just by his presence on the field. And they need to get James Skalski, their linebacker, back too, but he's not going to be back for a few more games. But to me, it all starts and stops with Tyler Davis. I think if he's in there, the defense is pretty dang good.
I agree with you. You know, when half of your defense shows up to Notre Dame and they get out of an ambulance, you got a problem. You know, they got a morphine drip on your linebacking core. Not a good thing. So for us, we just got to get back healthy. That's one thing. And that's really with any team. I mean, I didn't, you know, give you the keys to the house, you know. But the truth is, we got to get healthy. Agree with you 100%. Tyler Davis. Tyler Davis is the unsung hero of that defense to me because we just have so much talent across the front. You know, it's just like, you know, it's just crazy. Our linebacker play, we got to get, as you said, Skalski's got to get healthy. We got to get him back. That on the field leadership is a big deal. Big deal. That's like Michigan last year. They lost all that talent from year before, and man, they were, oh Lord, we're going to contend for. I'm like, contend for what? All your leadership is gone. I don't care how many 4 or 5 stars you got. When you get into the thick of things and you're playing the big games, no matter how talented people are, you got to have that one person who turns and says, guys, it's going to be okay. Play your position, do your thing. And Skalski's that guy for us. We've got to tighten up in our secondary too. That's just been a problem all year long. But I agree with you. If we can get Skalski back healthy, we get Tyler Davis back, we'll be okay.
I want to take it back just a little bit here because we know enough about what this game is going to entail. We'll give score predictions here in a minute, but I want to go back, and we're just going to talk about the past here just for a minute. I want to go back to 2013, and I want to ask, talking about the 2018 Clemson team too.
Hold on a second. Those were the days.
They were beautiful. I was in there. I was in the stadium there in 2013. Beautiful night. One of my favorite nights ever since. I think it was probably my top 2 nights. I think the first one I kissed a girl, but the second time, beautiful. Being inside Death Valley and it being over after the first quarter. Jameis Winston doing his thing. But give me y'all's real score prediction if it was 2018 Clemson versus 2013 Florida State, because I'm going to take Florida State any day of the week. We talked about it in our group chat today, and I think Jason has a pretty strong take on it too. But I think Florida State's offense and definitely the defense of that team, I mean, everybody went pro, was on an NFL team offensively and defensively for Florida State.
Yes, I'm going to have to break the tie.
Yeah. Yeah, you might have to. But what do you think the score would be between 2018 Clemson and 2013 Florida State for you guys?
I think that's a pretty good ball game right there.
Mm-hmm.
But for if we talking the 2018 Clemson team, so that's the one that blew the doors off Alabama. Yeah, that's a pretty good game right there. I had to think about it for a minute to make sure which team we were talking about, but that's a stout Clemson defense. That's a stout Florida State defense. That's 2 elite level quarterbacks with ice water in their veins, playmakers all over the field. You know, I got to be honest, I'm not real sure who wins that game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not sure I can say one way or the other. I think it would be a thriller though.
I'm gonna stick with my boys, but it's a hard game to call because, especially if it's the team that played against Alabama that night. I say we definitely win. I would say I think it'd be a lower scoring game somewhere in the low to mid 20s. I think we edge them out by a couple of points. And I think that could swing really any way. It really could. But that was 2 great teams if you could have seen them line up on the same field.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that would be a phenomenal ball game. I think it'd be a little bit more high score. I think both defenses were great. You know, Clemson had, I believe, Christian Wilkins was on that defense, correct? In 2018. It's all about defense. It's a great group on defense. I just think both of those offenses, it would have been a shootout on that one. But I do want to get these, since we have Clemson gentlemen on here, I want them to admit, I need Clemson supporters to admit that Florida State got screwed in the 2016 game, that there was no holding call, that Freddie Stevenson, the
chop block,
Florida State, was that?
Chop block, the chop block, yep.
The chop block, that was a horrible call. ACC officials screwed us in that game, and I want you guys, this is a chance to make amends for your entire Clemson and admit that you guys got the benefit of a wrong call.
It was a terrible call, man, but Jimbo made it worse. If he'd have kept his cool, it wouldn't have been such a big hole. But yeah, it was not a good call.
I didn't think you'd admit it, but I appreciate it, Jason.
I always say this.
Yes.
Just like us losing to Notre Dame the other night. You can sit there and blame it on ATN, well, the bad exchange. You can blame it on our defense for missing a open gap in the second play of the game. You can blame it on ATN for running out of bounds with about, I don't know, a minute 30 left, and Dabo's over there just about to piss himself. So I could say that maybe that call was not exactly what you would want it to be. But at the same time, if we go back and count, there was probably about 100 other plays played us beside that one.
Bobby, we suck this year. I'm just trying to remember the good days. So give me this moment. You're having your time. Let me have this moment, Bobby, okay?
Hey, now listen to me. Listen to me.
I'm an older fella, man, so I remember a lot of good days for Florida State.
Absolutely.
Hey, I know that I am very youthful and very handsome, but I am almost 40, and I have seen the majority of Florida State versus domination over Clemson, and they have dominated us for many, many years. So that's why, my friend, I am not even going to give you this, because I remember the days y'all would blow our doors off.
Okay. I can respect that. Before we get to predictions, we have something we do here every single time, and we don't break tradition here. We're great movies, great moments.
Make sure you guys hit that like button. I think we're at 43, 103 people watching right now. We're kind of rolling, even though it's Florida State versus Clemson. This is how it should be, though. It should be stacking up. If this was actually, a good Florida State team and a good Clemson, we'd be rocking close to probably 1,000 views. But make sure you hit that like button, and make sure you hit the subscribe button too, so you'll be notified every time Mark goes live. He's going live a ton now. He goes live at like midnight, but make sure you guys hit that like button. We've got 103 people watching and almost 50 likes. I think we can get to 75 before we end this thing.
It's a bold prediction. Do we get more likes than Clemson scores points this week?
All right, then don't like it. No.
All right, so here we go, guys. First of all, we appreciate you guys coming on with us. So here's your chance. I need your prediction for Saturday. Bobby, I'm going to start with you, and then we'll go with Jason. What is your prediction for Saturday's game?
I said 14 to 21 points. Yeah, my medicine hadn't kicked in yet. Okay. I believe we're looking about 42-7, 42-10 Clemson.
So you think they score a touchdown? Okay, that's good. That's positive. We appreciate the support. Okay. Jason, what do you got?
I think I hadn't really put a whole lot of thought in the prediction yet, but if I had to say off the top of my head, I was going to say 42-10 too. I think Florida State can, hit a few plays here and there, especially on Clemson secondary. They're prone to giving up the big play here and there to get caught peeking in the backfield. And I think Norvell is probably going to pull out some tricks on them. They got nothing to lose, man. A team like that can be scary sometimes, and Florida State still got some big dudes up front on that defensive line.
No, from an outlet,
I think they can score. I'm not saying Clemson's going to shut them out or anything. I think they can score a touchdown or two, maybe.
From an outside perspective, obviously we talked about Clemson's a big favorite, 35-point favorite. 40 only saying Clemson will only score. I know this is where we are right now with Clemson. Saying Clemson will only score 42 points seems a little low. Do you think that's Florida State's defense might have a little bit of a pulse, or do you think Clemson is just kind of going to go through the motions, get this W, and focus on, I think it's Virginia Tech, and I forgot who else you have on the schedule after us?
Well, I don't know. Maybe a little bit of both. Clemson's got some offensive line issues, man. They have not been able to run the ball all season long, especially on the interior. They just cannot run between the tackles. And I think once they get up a little bit, they're going to start working guys, the backup offensive linemen in. They've got to get those guys up to speed. They've got to get those guys some playing time. The first string's been playing entirely too many snaps. And I think, you start seeing those backups come in, and you might not see Clemson scoring at the clip some people might would think.
Bobby Redbeard 40 is one of our main guys. He also just asked, he talked about your Bud Light hat there. Is that what you drank on the honeymoon while your wife drank the Natty Light, or what was the –
Oh, Lord, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
She thought it was real sexy when I took her high heel and poured Bud Light in it and sipped from it. That was a moment.
That's love right there. That's true love.
That's love. I tell you, my thing why I'm saying, 42 points, like you said, only 42 points is – of course, offensive line, something's got to happen there. I don't know if they got to start using steroids or something, bring back the PEDs. We got to have it. But as far as us not running the score up, I'm just not seeing a lot of hunger out of Clemson. And I catch a lot of flack for saying that. I think Clemson has it so good with all the talent, with all the continuity in the coaching staff, and everybody knows they're going to win about every game they play, even when they play the big games. It was kind of a shocker that they lost to Notre Dame, even though it was at Notre Dame, even with all the injuries. I think that there is just an edge that they had in 2018 that they don't have now. And to me, it doesn't even really deal with talent. It goes back to, especially on the defensive side of the ball, leadership. And you got to have guys out there like the Christian Wilkins who was firing you up. Yes, he's a once-in-a-lifetime player in college, especially. But I just want to see some fire from these guys and some excitement. And I think that's really what it's going to come down to, and that's why I lean back to 42-10. Now, I'll tell you, if they came in firing on all cylinders, excited about the game, playing good fundamental football, that's what lost them the Notre Dame game with the fumbles and the blah, blah, blahs, I would go 60 points easily right now. But we got to see some fire out of them, and we got to see good fundamental football. And I hate to say it, we haven't seen that the past 2 weeks they've played.
Dennis, those beers taste even better when Florida State's at the state it's at. I can trust you. Trust me.
You need to get through this season for Florida State.
It tastes way better.
Jason, Bobby, I'll admit it.
Yes.
I predicted you guys to lose to Notre Dame when we did our predictions back in July. I'll admit it, but I also said you'd come back and win the ACC. So we got there for you. You guys, I think you guys will take it this season. We appreciate you joining us, and we'll see you on Saturday.
Leave the mark.
Hey, anytime, man. Good luck, y'all.
Appreciate it, guys. Thanks for coming on.
Tell Mama I said hey.
Hey, Mama.
Yes, be good. Thank you.
There.
Whoa, hey. There it is.
James.
Big game.
Just the Blue Collar Comedy Tour that we just had.
You missed all of that.
No, I
missed all of that.
No,
you saw.
I heard all of it. That
missed
was
all of that.
Very, very interesting dialect.
I would have gotten a beer if I should have done my homework for that one, Mark, because I most certainly would have had a beer in my hand for that. But I didn't know what I was working with.
Logan, if I can't eat, you can't drink on the show. Deal?
I've heard a lot of I've seen a lot of stereotypes before now. And I understand why stereotypes typically are what they are. Because there is a little truth in them. But boy, was that South Carolina, very South Carolina.
I've called Logan country before, and I've made fun of his accent before and whatnot. But yeah,
not Logan's not country. That was country.
Country in him. He's got a little country. That took it to the next level there on that one.
Yeah, that was interesting, man.
My reaction.
So James Coleman joined us. Big game James here. James, before the Clemson guys signed on, we were talking about the big news out of Tallahassee is obviously Chuba Purdy. He's done for the season.
Is he?
He's done for the season.
Quarterback with a quarterback that broke his collarbone that gets thrown back in. Re-injured
I
his
know.
elbow. That's interesting.
I know, it's crazy. Who would have
I'm
guessed?
not a doctor. But I wouldn't have. I wouldn't have ever predicted that.
So who would you put into this situation right now? Obviously, we got the game. We know who Clemson is. They are who we thought they are. Who would you put in at quarterback right now? If Jordan Travis, who Mike Norvell says is questionable, is practicing, do you risk him at this point, or do you just say screw it and turn it over to Tate? What do you do at this time? Yeah, bold questions here. I know.
Is Blackman is he fully committed to the portal?
He's on his way down here to FAU. He's coming to FAU. Let's be honest. Come on now.
I mean, I would, if I'm Norvell in the way that he coaches and what he's shown a propensity to do, I would put Travis out there. I mean, playing an injured Travis is not foreign to this season. I would not play Tate by any stretch of the imagination. I would go as far as possibly trying to throw a little bit more of the Wildcat with Corbin, or even maybe Travis Jay has played some quarterback before, or even Wyatt Rector. I mean, I would I don't want to see Tate throwing a football in a big time football game, but I think Jordan Travis is the only way you really have an opportunity to even make the game go faster, which is really what you're at this point. What you're really just trying to get out of it. You're just trying to be honest with you, with what's going on in Miami, what's going on in the Big Ten, what's going on with a lot of SEC schools. I'm shocked that we have it, and this is not making light of anything, but if Tallahassee being most major, even though is not a major metro, but it's bigger than most places, that there isn't any contact tracing or anything. Like I would really, there's nothing to benefit anybody by playing this game.
James, I have to say you and I said this to Logan before, both you and him saying Travis Jay playing quarterback gives me less and less reason to watch the second half of this ball game.
What else are you going to throw out there?
I would only watch it. There's only one reason that I'm watching this game, because I have to talk about it. If I wasn't to quote a reputable, if I didn't run an FSU fan site, and I didn't have to talk about it on radio, I probably would not be. I probably would enjoy some other football. I would do some other things. I haven't seen my boys in 8 days. I would probably go spend some time with them, go to a theme park, or do some other things. But I've got to watch this game, and it's a sad state of things. But FSU has gotten blown out the last 2 meetings, so there's nothing to suggest that this won't be the third straight blowout, and possibly one of the worst losses in the history of the game. Again, I don't believe this. I don't believe Clemson's a rival. I think we only hold on to them being a rival because we're not any good anymore, and they are. So, but I think this is going to be a tough game. Not just because of the offense. The offense is putrid, but the defense. I heard them talk about their running game struggling, but and that's good for them because our run defense struggles. Pitt averaged 2.9 yards a carry coming into it, and really looked like they had everything figured out, including a running back. Including a quarterback with one leg, being able to do a lot of things. So when I look at the mobility of Trevor Lawrence, when I look at the mobility of the DJ fella, and I look at what Travis Etienne is able to do, and FSU's inability to set the edges, that should bode well for their running game. But also, I think this is the game where Trevor Lawrence can probably attack any corner that he wants to. So I think this is going to be – I don't really think it matters who would be the quarterback, because you're just lacking depth, and it's not so much talent. I mean, their talent just is better than what your talent is on offense. You're lacking depth, and you're lacking guys who have a willingness to want to go make a play. So I even believe the score would be, if there was a score, or if there is to be a score, would be later in the game, kind of like what we did with NC State when NC State kind of caught off the dogs, or to put, as Mark put it so eloquently on Saturday. When the game mattered, we only scored 9 points, or I think that's what Mark said. It was something probably a little bit better, but I just don't really see this. I just don't really see this being this again. I think my son's I-9 flag football team could put up a better fight than
To answer
the Florida State team.
To answer Arvel's question, the last time all three were probably good was probably the 2000 season. You legitimately have to go back probably 20 years to say when was the last time all three were elite.
That's what I came up with. I was looking at that question, came up with 2000. Yep.
Yeah, 2000 season.
Not at all.
Elite, yeah, because
elite. When you say elite, you mean like playing like all of them had a chance to be in the championship.
Remember that game? Remember that season? Florida's heading into the final game of the regular season. Miami was 2, we were 3, Florida was 4. Essentially, the winner of our game, and the winner of our game was going to jump Miami, and then that's how we ended up jumping Miami and played Oklahoma in the Orange Bowl. But that was probably the last time.
I mean, 2001 FSU's team. Yeah, 2001 FSU team wasn't really great, but that was the year that Rex Grossman should have probably won the Heisman. Miami played in the national championship, and Florida State beat UF that year as well. I mean, people use throw terms around like elite. I do think early 2000s is the last time that all teams were still considered, the logo is still considered something around the same time. It's been a while, but Miami had some downturns with coaching, and that affected them. I believe Florida with some of their years, but Florida, but Miami and Florida are much improved, but neither one of them are teams that. Well, Florida maybe this year could backdoor their way into the championship, but I doubt that happens.
Shout out to Redbeard with the $24.99 donation. We do appreciate that one. James said something though that I think that we've kind of alluded to in past shows and whatnot. Something needs to be said about that. The fact that Florida State's been able to play all their games and hasn't had to move any games, hasn't had anything moved to December 12th. At this point, knock on wood, there's still 3 scheduled games right now at this point, is impressive. And, Miami just had to move their entire schedule around. Florida had to move their schedule, had to move a couple games around and whatnot. So, who knows what the next 3 weeks will have in store, but I think that should be a little bit of a positive. If there's one positive thing we can take out of the season, we've played all our games. And we're 2-6 for the first time since 1975.
Mm-hmm. Sounds like fun.
Only one of us was.
I'm going to make you guys cough up a real positive. I want a player from each one of you that you guys are proud of, that you think has stepped up, delivers a good effort every week, has potential to be even better in 2021.
When he's allowed to play, or just steps up every single week.
Who is that?
When he's allowed to play and show himself, it's Gaynor. Without a doubt, Gaynor right now is the beast on the defense. When he is on the field, I think he is the most athletic member of that defensive unit. I think he's definitely the top linebacker in that unit. I think he's playing better than any member of that front seven at all. And I would say probably maybe Asante Samuel's the only other guy who can compete with him as far as athleticism on the defense. So I would say when he's on the field, I'm Martin Gaynor.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I have to take your guy. Sorry.
We are. I've said it this offseason. I mean, Asante Samuel Jr. was going to show up. He has a great mentality. He won't sadly be here next season. He should leave. Most certainly get the heck out of here. But Asante Samuel Jr., dog. I'm interested to see where he goes draft-wise because he's a little bit shorter, but I think he has a bright future ahead of him. And then probably, I'm trying to think, of course, Gaynor too, when he's allowed out there, like Jason said. I think that if he can be, I don't know what's going on in here. If Gaynor's out there, yes, if they allow him to be out there, he plays very well. He gets after the ball. And offensively, LaDamian Webb, but I don't think he's fully healthy. I don't really understand why we're not seeing Webb in earlier parts of the game. That's something that I am having a big problem with between Kenny Dillingham and Norvell. I have no idea why we're not seeing him practically much in the first half. I don't know what problem that is. But it'd be Webb. Webb is the best running back on the team. I don't want to. I mean, that's not even, to me, it's not an argument. But I don't understand what's going on there. I don't think he's fully healthy then.
Since you threw out a player on offense, I'll throw out an offensive player as well, and I may get a few eye rolls, but I'll say Jordan Travis. Jordan Travis, for what he's doing, and the fact that he has no offensive line essentially protecting him, and the fact that he has survived, let's see, Miami game, Jacksonville State, Notre Dame, North Carolina, Louisville, Pitt. The fact that so far he's been able to play 6 games this season and he's still alive should be commended.
I mean, I have nothing really to add. Those are 4 guys that I do truly believe are the better guys on this team, are the brighter spots on this team. I don't believe that 2 of them will be back. Amari Gaynor is somebody who I believe has done enough this season. I think the best thing that Florida State might have done for Amari Gaynor is limit his reps, because when he does play, he grades out very high in the mid-80s, which is pretty impressive, especially considering ebbs and flows and being cold in the game. And Asante Samuels, to me, is the DeMarcus Walker of the secondary. He's a guy that's very, very good, extremely talented. You can see that he can play in the NFL, but much like what Logan said, there's nothing overly sexy about him that would make him like a top pick. And that's not his fault. That's just how the NFL goes. He's not tall. He's not like he doesn't have super elite speed. He's just a really naturally instinctive corner that plays well. I think both of those young men should go, and if they get a mid-round grade, which I believe both of them have, I think they should go and take the talents to the NFL on the ball. Like, I still don't understand. Like, even injuries or no injuries, I still we play guys with injuries, so I have no idea why Webb isn't on the field. And I can understand Corbin possibly finally getting back into game shape after having the injury he had at Texas A&M, but Webb and Toafali have been 2 of the better running backs on the team, and I do believe Jordan Travis is what makes the offense go. One of the only thing that is better than anything that we've seen the last 3 years, ironically, is the running game, which is why I joke with people why my disappointment in the season is what it is. I didn't expect to win an ACC championship, but I did expect with a better X's and O's coach, or what he was touted, and the consistency to be a little bit better. And that's because the running game is better than it was even with us having a guy like Cam Akers last year. But Jordan Travis leads the team in attempts, I believe, possibly rushing, but I definitely know he leads the team in attempts. And he's the only guy who's had over 20 carries in the game. Most of our guys, I don't believe, have had over 15 to 16 carries outside of that. So when you think about the running game goes where Jordan Travis's legs go. And if that's the bright spot and that's the guy who makes it bright, then that's the only way that you can actually have that be effective. And even though I do believe he's under Mike Norvell's tutelage, he's been nothing more than a running back that can throw the ball decent. So it's basically a wildcat. But he's an athlete that helps you out.
Both you and Logan just said that our best defensive players should go pro. You guys are giving me so much confidence for 2021. It's going to be so much better.
Let's get the super chat comment in here from Redbeard. So Redbeard, thank you so much for the contribution. Says the way the Florida State defensive front has handled the run the last 2 weeks, I think they slowed down the run this week, even against Clemson.
So obviously Redbeard didn't watch the Pitt game, but okay.
Well, it's still gonna be tough no matter what. I think no matter what, like the 2 guys that we just had in talking Clemson, like they've been saying, they've been disappointed that they're not just nailing teams. Dabo Swinney hates Florida State. He hates what Jimbo did to him. He's just still very pissed. And Trevor Lawrence, I feel like, is just like his son, and they're going to act the same way, and they're going to want to put up points. Trevor Lawrence wants to play well. He's losing it in the Heisman race right now. On Saturday, he is going to have a highlight reel, and he doesn't want to have Trask above him and all these other guys that maybe have Heisman betting odds more than him. Trevor Lawrence is going to want to show up. Travis Etienne, he still wants to put more yards out so he can continue to throw up his ACC record, even though Dalvin Cook is by far a better running back. No argument there. But yeah, they're going to show up. And even if Florida State's run defense has improved, this is a different team. Like James said earlier, Pittsburgh's was 2.9 yards per carry.
Yeah,
To answer first of all, Funky Fudge 11.
Yeah,
really-
so let me dive in on this one. So let's go round robin on this one. Everybody can dive in on this one. This is a program question. Thank you so much, Funky Fudge 11, for the super chat. We can start with James here, go around to Jason, then to Logan, and I'll chime in with something possibly. Florida fan here, genuinely curious. How long do you think it will take for Florida State to bounce back? How do you compare things to our Muschamp / McElwain years? Understand that Jim McElwain went to SEC championship games, and Will Muschamp had a team that went 11-1 and went to the Sugar Bowl. So it's not quite at that point. So I know Florida fans aren't enamored with either one of those guys because they had their down years, but they also had some fairly high highs.
They also backdoored into both those SEC championship games. If you look at the way the 20
absolutely, they weren't good. They were in a down SEC Eastern Division, but those teams were still winning 9 and 10 games. They're nothing close to this Florida State team, and that Muschamp 2012 team was really good, really good. All right, James.
I think people who, I get that. That's just the that's the beautiful thing about why I like our rivals fan bases and why I interact with them, and probably why I'm gaining more followers for them than as I'm losing FSU followers. There's this thing that I will always believe in. I will never not, and that's the standard over everything. Standard over expectations. The standard is the standard. Florida fans talk about, like Mark said, about guys who had relative success but had a down year. So, Muschamp had that 4-win season, and McElwain technically had a 4-win season, but much tumultuous that year with some suspensions, some injuries, and then being fired mid-season based upon guys not liking his attitude. But those guys did something that I believe that only Tag did, which no matter what people want to say, there were, 4 stars, 4 and 5 stars work other places. So I don't understand why they can work other places and don't work at FSU. But when you look at what Florida's being able to do right now under Mullen is, I believe, has 6 to 7, and this isn't coming from me. This is coming from one of my friends who's on Florida staff. There's only 6 to 7 players on the 2-deep roster that come from Mullen. That Mullen's using currently. Most of the guys that he's winning with are the players from those previous staffs or transfers that have come in. So none of the guys he's recruited are the ones that are making really, really good plays. Even the wide receivers, when you think about the wide receivers that they have that are being dynamic, they were transfers that came in. So, and Mullen is doing a great job with X's and O's because he's taking a guy in Kyle Trask who never started a high school game and is currently in the conversations with the current conversations with the Heisman. That's tremendous. Like, that is great X's and O's. So what I'm going to do is so the bigger question was, is this like that? And how long does it take FSU to get back? FSU is solely dependent upon their head coach and the realization that this is a Power 5 blue blood. And what attitude will you take to get back to it? You cannot recruit like you're in Memphis, and you cannot allow good, right, wrong, or indifferent. You can't allow the fan base to dictate what it is that you do and how you perform. And that's on the admin level as well. So when FSU gets a competent AD, when FSU gets a competent president, when they get a competent booster president, and they start making decisions and they start making moves like a big boy program, which they made a move like a big boy program in firing Taggart, which was the right decision when you really look at it. The hire wasn't the right decision. but you made a big boy move and firing him mid-season. You just couldn't follow up with that big boy move by hiring a big boy coach. So now you have to make sure that your coach has all the tools that are necessary to be able to bring and develop him. It's not that Mike Norvell's not a good coach. It's a thing that he probably was a few years too early for this job. What you do is you support him, you bolster him, you make sure that he has everything that's necessary to be able to develop and get the transfers that are necessary and to help with recruiting. The recruiting can be helped even if you don't have the relationships. It can be helped by having a great off-the-field recruiting department. And if his X's and O's are what they've been touted, as everybody says he didn't forget how to coach when he left Memphis, then, once he's able to get some of the guys. But I think he can't have what's currently rumored to happen in losing Luke Altmaier and it'd be an even 3-year turnaround unless he's able to get like a really, really good grad transfer. And I mean, when I say a good grad transfer, I mean a guy who was in the running, an injury happened, or like it was just two really, really good quarterbacks at a big Power 5 school, and they just missed out. And then that's the guy that you bring in because your offensive line coach, I believe, is worth his weight in this payment. If you got to keep him around, and you can't. If you believe your defensive coordinator is the guy, you need to be able to get him all the people around him that's going to make him better. But I think those are a lot of humble things that you have to look at. And I'm not saying that Mike is arrogant by any means, but to get the job of a head coach at a Power 5 school, you have to have a little bit of arrogance. So that's a hard thing to look in the mirror and say, at the end of the day, everything that's happening is my fault. It's not COVID's fault. It's not a lack of spring's fault. It's none of this. At the end of the day, the buck stops with me. And there's a lot of other things that are going on in that locker room that are indicative that it's a really long process. And it's not about talent, and it's not about bad kids or even bad coaches. It's about a bad team. But the beautiful thing about football in general, that every year is a new day. I mean, it's a new start, a fresh start. The 2021 team is not the 2020 team unless you make it that.
First of all, James, don't worry about Luke Altmaier. Logan promised us last week that he was coming to Tallahassee. He promised.
That hit a whole 180 on me, didn't it?
Logan said it, and if Logan said it, I believe what Logan had to say, that he is coming to Tallahassee. So, Logan, you
didn't even bring it up. You had your chance, but it's already past 7 o'clock. We got to give our score predictions. I have no comment on it. I have no comment.
We're in the overtime period here, presented by Popeyes. Yeah, I just sponsored that segment. First of all, no matter what we do here, and you're going to have critics saying, oh, Logan, you're hating on Florida State. Oh, Jason, you're not a real Seminole fan. James, you're a turncoat. There's going to be people who are saying that because we are saying Florida State's going to get killed by Clemson. Or at least that's what I'm going to get in my DMs. I know that's what's going to happen. We're just being realistic. Florida State is not good right now. That doesn't make Logan less of a Florida State student. James and I are less of Florida State grads. We are Florida State people. We want Florida State to succeed. This is the first time that any of us have seen a 2-6 record in our lifetime. 1975, Mark, I'm not calling you old here, Mark was the only person out of this group alive the last time Florida State was 2-6. Sorry, Mark. We'll get you some Advil for that later. There we go. But at this point, that's why this is new to us. So let us have our moments. Let us go through this. We're not hating on the Noles. We're just being realistic. As far as comparing it to Florida, I would compare it more to the 2017 Gators, who were getting blown out by Michigan, blown out by Georgia, blown out by South Carolina, and ended up getting blown out by Florida State. Because that 2013 Gators team lost by 5 points to Miami. They lost by a possession to South Carolina, lost by a possession in Georgia, lost by a possession in Georgia Southern. So that was at least a somewhat – and they also had an injured quarterback. They were going through injuries and whatnot. That 2017 Gators team was not good. I think we're closer to that team than the 2013 Gators. To answer the question about how long, I'm hesitant to answer that question because I'm not sold on Mike Norvell. I want Florida State to succeed. If Florida State can come out, beat Clemson, beat Virginia, beat Duke, I will be a proud proud Florida State fan. It's not going to happen, James. I see the eyes. It's not going to happen. We're going to get schooled.
Yeah, we would have had to cheat. That's the only way that would happen.
I understand. We're going to get schooled this week. I admit that. So that's why I'm a little bit hesitant because I don't fully think Mike Norvell is the answer. I think I will agree with you. If Mike Norvell would say the buck stops with me, I'm the reason, I'm the problem, I would give him a little bit more credit because I think he understands it. I think the people who are still willing to, when I'm going to say it, when Willie Taggart's the coach, it's the coach's fault. When Mike Norvell's the coach, it's the player's fault. That's the problem I have right now with what's going on. That's the problem I have with Mike Norvell is that we've shifted all the blame from the coaching staff back to the players. Own it. Own that we suck. We suck. We are a bad football team this year. Own that we suck and move on. Logan, we can't hear you. Finally, my prayers have been answered. We can't hear Logan.
Oh, my bad. I muted myself.
Good job. Good job, Logan.
I think everybody, there's not much more I can really say on it. There's a 45 minutes. There's an NBA draft with 2 Florida State players about to go. We're doing a live stream over there in 45 minutes because now it's all basketball content for the rest of the year. Should have been covering a national championship last year. So this year we're going full force. We have switched ways. We have meeting. We're going to go full force of basketball. So that's what I'm getting prepared for in 50 minutes. The state of the program right now, Florida State, is dookie. And you got to figure out a quarterback situation. Like they had mentioned, there's some rumblings about Altmaier and Ole Miss. There's been rumblings all throughout his recruitment. Obviously,
Alabama.
The product on the field has really hurt the situation there. He's been very quiet with our guy at Nate. Luke would text him out of just nowhere, just asking what's going on, how are things going in Tallahassee, but now it's kind of just been dwindled down. I wouldn't really rely on the Ole Miss people, the guys that are putting in those crystal balls at 247. Those guys will take anything of anybody else putting in crystal balls. They put in crystal balls for Cam Akers for Ole Miss during his little late thing there. So obviously you have another big-time analyst putting in for Ole Miss, but we'll see. But this is big for Norvell. I think Altmaier is going to give a chance for Norvell, most certainly, to listen to him. But the quarterback situation moving forward is a very interesting situation. Obviously, you have Chuba Purdy, you have Tate Rodemaker, but really, to me, it's just Chuba Purdy and then who else? Because Jordan Travis really isn't fit for this offense, in my opinion. So we'll see.
We'll maybe get an offensive line, and he doesn't have to run around like a chicken with his head cut off. All right,
maybe.
Prediction time, guys. It is time to make the great prediction. Here's the way we're going to do it this week, because I think we're all in consensus that Florida State's going to get dog stomped. Correct? I think we're all in consensus.
No.
First of all, if you pick Florida State to win, I will drive up to Tallahassee, smack you, and drive back home. So here's my question: Florida State's worst loss in program history. It happened twice. 1973, a 49-0 loss to Florida on the road. And in 2018, a 59-10 loss to Clemson at home. So here's the question. Does Clemson beat us by more than 49 points this year? Logan.
I hate that this is like the one that I actually have to think about. Do they beat Florida State by, what do you say, 49?
By more than 49. Do they set a record for the worst loss in Florida State history?
I'm going to say no. I want to be bold this weekend. No, Clemson doesn't beat them by more than 49.
Hold on. Sorry, Richard. 1976 was Bound's first year. Get your facts right. Continue.
But no, I don't think so. But I do think Florida State loses this game 13-44. 14-44. Or 13-44.
44-13 Clemson. All right.
So 44-13 Clemson. Yes.
James, 49 points. You taking the over on that, or are you taking the under?
I'm taking the over. It's not that it's I just think that these players are beaten now, and I think that once Clemson really gets up, they're going to be like, wow, this is happening again, and they kind of just check out. That's just they've been playing. The only time that they really showed a little bit of fight and played in the fourth quarter would have been against NC State. But that's for me looking at NC State really just kind of taking their ball and going home. So I believe that, in 3 quarters, Clemson has this really, really solid and it's really also just a lack of fundamentals. Like when I'm watching and just baffles me how bad people don't really understand film. So like I'm watching a clip against NC State where I think it's DJ Lundy is the young linebacker, where he just doesn't like. There's this thing called rockets. You literally have a hole that you're responsible for, and he doesn't hit his hole, and the linebacker that should have hit that hole doesn't hit the hole either. He scrapes. So it's just simple things like that I guess they're not being. I mean, I guess the coaches are. I'm sure the coaches are telling them what to do, and they're just not doing it, and that just baffles me. That it's such a dearth in talent that you can't put guys in who can at least run in the right direction. Like, and if that's happening when you go up against a team that is better and well coached, you just there's nothing you can do about it. It's a difference between being well coached and stinking. Like those teams typically can get beat 44-13. The teams that are again, this is what people talk about undisciplined play. Undisciplined play isn't a penalty thing. Bobby Bowden teams, Alabama coach teams, even Mike Norvell's Memphis' team were among some of the most penalized teams in the nation. But their guys went where they were supposed to go. When guys don't go where they're supposed to go, and they're that's showing pure undiscipline. So this is an undisciplined team that just is. I don't necessarily know if they're not talented as much as they don't care about anything. They don't care what anybody says about them. Well, the only thing they care about is what people say about them on social media.
So, what is your prediction?
I'll say I'm gonna go 70. I'll go 70-10.
So this is our Florida State show. Did you give a pick?
Jason,
Jason
did get
prediction.
wow.
Mark's decided I don't get to pick.
I was waiting for yours, Jason.
Yeah. I think we don't lose by 49 points. Don't get me wrong. I think we get dog stopped. But I think this is going to go one of two ways. It's you're either going to have a Clemson team pissed off that's had 2 weeks since their last game, which was a loss, and they're either going to come in really pissed off, or you're going to have a Florida State team that's going to just say, we're going in, balls to the wall, let's just get this going. And they could make it a lot more interesting than it should be. But I'm going to say Clemson. I think Clemson's just way too talented. I'm going to say Clemson 48, Florida State 17. And that's being optimistic that I think we can get 17 points.
It's a good game.
All right. So I will say New King God, who had a super chat contribution and asked, will Florida State score more points than Clemson touchdowns? You can do the math on everybody's predictions, New King God, and figure that out. But thank you so much for the super chat contributions from New King God, Redbeard, Terry, and Ronan. Thank you so much. This is our Florida State show every Wednesday night, 6 p.m. Eastern time. Lock it in. Follow Logan Robinson, Noel Game Day. He's about to cover the NBA draft. Where can people find that?
That is going to be on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Periscope, wherever. It's going to be all over the place. That's going to be at 8 o'clock here in about 45 minutes.
And programming note, next week here on Mark Rogers TV, the voice of Florida State college football, we will talk about the Florida State basketball team. We don't want to talk about this mess that's happening on Saturday. Mark will allow us. We're putting the pressure 3-on-1 right now. We are going to preview Leonard Hamilton's 19th season.
Do any of y'all want to watch them work?
A programming note would be that anything that comes out of Jason's mouth regarding programming is a joke. Okay.
We're gonna wait.
It's just for banter. Okay.
The one time Mark says, "Hey, I need you to fill in this week," all basketball chatter.
James, where can people find you?
At Big Game James _36. at Fifth Quarter Inc. on Twitter, or INC on Twitter. Fifthquarter.net, I believe, is our website. I want to make sure I say that right. We cover all college football. The FSU channel is always lively. It's one of the few unverified or whatever fan sites where you can actually bash the person who runs it, and he's not going to block you. Like, he's going to laugh at you, and I'll go back and forth with you sometimes when I have the energy. But better times someday will have. Tough times don't always last, but there's still news to be broken. There's still games to be played, and still analysis. So Florida State's even made me write positive things about. I've been writing positive things about Mike Norvell. So you can see those things on fifthquarter.net, and a host of other really, really talented writers cover all of college football on that page.
I'm going to throw in one more negative on Florida State's current situation. I'm looking at the current 2017 Florida football team, and there's no way that this Florida State team posts those scores against those opponents.
No, the argument was saying about the McElwain versus
Sure
Muschamp years. My argument was not a Muschamp team, because remember, I believe Jeff Driscoll got knocked out earlier in the season. They had the close game against Miami. They had a lot of close games as opposed to that 2017 team who was more
absolutely. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying you guys would be ecstatic right now if you guys were losing to LSU 17-16, Texas A&M 19-17, a South Carolina team that won the Outback Bowl 28-20.
And what were some of the other games? Michigan?
But Michigan was 33-17. Those were two pick sixes in that game. Pardon me?
Don't defend Michigan. You hate
I'm not defending Michigan. I'm telling you that they stayed within one score of a lot of good teams.
That's because Michigan. That's because Michigan.
A lot of good teams.
Yeah,
they were angry. They got
this team. We make bad teams look really, really good. So, which is just what really it blows my mind, like that it could be that bad. Like, I don't care what happens. It should never be that bad.
9 days. Tip off 9 days. 9 days.
It's not the loss to Miami that bothers. It's not the loss to Notre Dame that bothers. It's not the loss to Clemson. It's the losing to Louisville. It's the losing to Pitt. It's the losing to Georgia Tech.
You know what's out? You know what else is 9? I'm 9-0, baby. I'm 9-0, baby. And I'm gonna be a Duval. I'm gonna be a Duval with the boys.
Logan.
I'm gonna have a great time.
Logan.
I am going to have a very good time.
Logan, can we give a shout to the Lady Knowles, the soccer team?
Yes, fantastic.
Yes, this is mostly just Mark to give that look. Shout out to the Lady Knowles.
That is great. Football, Mark.
They're very athletic.
Football. This is all we care about. Football.
Shout out to your alma mater.
Even bad football is all we care about.
Speaking of bad football, shout out to your alma mater, Kent State. I watched that game yesterday.
Yeah, they're 3-0.
Congratulations. What's it like to win 3 games?
3 in a row. And a bowl game last year.
Well, I'd love us to win.
All right, everyone. We need a sponsor.
Jason, where do we find you?
Folks out there. Bring us a sponsor. Get a sponsor in here. If you've got any ideas, contact me at MarkRogersTV@gmail.com. And we're going to tell you more about a raffle, because I really think this is an amazing opportunity for somebody to talk college football, NFL, whatever you want to talk about, with big game James Coleman right here. So contact me at MarkRogersTV@gmail.com, and we will discuss it there. All right, boys.
Can you use colorful language?
Appreciate you stopping by.
Yes, be good.
All right. Have a good draft.
Oh, yeah. That's what we look forward to now, sadly.
What basketball school?
I've never watched an NBA draft, and I'm about to do it.